Welcome to On the Record. I'm your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Today I am joined by Jason. I found him on TikTok. Well, he be liking my stuff on TikTok, and people don't usually be doing that. That's really how he got my attention. And then I went on his page. I was like, oh, he collect vinyls. I asked him if he wanted to appear on the show. He agreed. So first, thank you for showing up on the show. What got you into like collecting records?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be. It's like the first kind of podcast show, whatever I've been on. As far as what got me into collecting, I feel like it was kind of a couple of different things that happened at around the same time. Interestingly enough, it was a new record that was like a throwback record. So when Childish Gambino "Awaken My Love" was dropped, I fell in love with that record, or I should say album. I didn't have the record, but I fell in love with the album. I fell in love with the sound. And the more I talked to people about it, they started throwing around names like Sly Stone, all those from the like that funk era from the early 70s. And so I started diving into that a little bit. This was like, I guess, 2016. So like almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And so I grew up on like very diverse music taste, everything from like Motown soul to classic rock. And so had some friends that collected records and just picked up, just started kind of getting into it. As I got into some of that music, it felt like vinyl was the way to experience it as opposed to, whatever YouTube, Spotify. And so I just kind of, jumped into it a lot. So I say that to say a lot of my inspiration was like a current artist, but it was the throwback sounds.
Okay.
And so a lot of my vinyl collecting, I would say, like 80% of it is old vintage records. 90%, like I have like this thing is pretty much full of 8 cubes, and like one of them is new records, and the other 7 are like vintage records.
Oh, okay. So you have a lot more like records from, because I've seen that you like go to like these halls. First, where do you
Yeah.
find these halls that you're going to, and what like gyms are you finding there? Because I live in the Bay Area, so we don't really have too many like that out here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started I had it like for about 3 or 4 years. I just had like 100 records. I'd buy them at record stores and stuff like that. And then actually when the pandemic hit, I started kind of getting back into it. And about 6 months ago, like over the winter, when I feel like I started really getting into collecting again, I just like I'm a value guy. So anytime I talk about records, I always be like, oh, I got this dollar for $1 or $3 or whatever. And I ran across one ad, and it had like it was so Facebook Marketplace is the short answer. Facebook Marketplace, you go through and click like vinyl records and click on local only. So that way it just shows up like what's local to you. And I just found one collection that had like 100 records, but it was everything from like late 70s, early 80s, like R&B. Think of like Isley Brothers, Luther Vandross, even early Keith Sweat. And I bought that. It was 50 records, and it was $200. I'm sorry, 50 records for $100.
That's a good value right there.
I just was like, yeah, because every single one, there wasn't any like super expensive ones in that haul, but every single one I would have easily paid $5 or $10 for. And so I was just like, whoa. And the dude who sold it to me, like, that's what I realized is like the things I look for is people who aren't necessarily collectors at the time, but people who may have collected or may have been a family member's collection. And it's literally just sitting in a closet somewhere. And they're putting it on Facebook. And normally I tell people like, look for like one picture, maybe 2 pictures, because that means if they put it out and they stage it and they put all these nice photos and they like all this stuff, like those are people who, and it's fine, they're going to ask for more money. But if you find people who just like snap a picture and you see like a couple album covers in there and you ask them a couple questions, like what genres are there? Those are the type of people, like those are the type of collections I like to buy because, like I said, people are just looking to cash out. They're just like, man, these been sitting in my closet, $100, $200. And so that's what Facebook Marketplace has been the other way I get on Facebook Marketplace actually is like some new stuff. So you find people who like normally, so that's normally an older crowd, like 50 plus, right?
Yeah, Facebook is.
But if you find people who are like college age, Gen Z or younger, and these are people who like they got into the fad. They bought a Crossley record player. They bought, maybe like 2 albums or 5 albums for the aesthetic, which is totally cool. I don't knock anybody's, whatever their motivation is. But after a couple of years, they're like, I don't listen to these records. And so like I got Black Panther, the soundtrack on green vinyl for like $9.
Oh,
because
wow.
this lady was just like, I don't listen to it. Yeah, and it's like a $60 record, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing is look for you to look, yeah, like it's crazy. And she just was like, yeah, have it. Like, I don't care. And so finding those people who like, if you see them post like one or two, and they'll normally post a few records, you can normally tell them to like, if they post them for like, I think that one she was trying to get like $12 or $15 a record, and there were like 4 of them. And I was like, would you take like $35 for all 4 of them? She was like, sure. So it's just understanding like when I do it on Facebook Marketplace is realizing like when I go to sell, like what am I trying to do? Either I'm trying to maximize my money or I'm trying to just like move, like get something out of the way. So how many records I have? So in like December, I had about 100, let's say somewhere between 100 and 150 by buying these collections. Officially, that's like on my Discogs, and I consider part of my collection. I'm at like just under 800 records. And I have, so that's the thing when I buy the collections, I don't keep everything. I try not to throw vinyl away. So I try to like see if friends want to buy it. Right now, I have a lot like in a climate controlled storage unit. And in that climate controlled storage unit, I probably have another 500 or 600 records.
Okay.
So what I consider mine is like close to 800, but total I probably have somewhere like, maybe under 1,500. But a lot of those, the ones in the storage unit, I don't plan on keeping.
No, those are the ones you're like, you're gonna sell them or just get rid of them.
Yeah, and like I know, I like the vinyl community is really interesting, right? Like there's people who will buy $1 record and try to, and like if it's a business, if people that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. That's not my intent. If I know someone is another collector, I'll buy whatever I get out of the collection. If I don't plan on keeping it, I'll sell it for like literally like half of what it goes for, just because I still am like profiting some money. But it's like if it's a collector that they want that album, they're still getting a really good deal. So that's what I mainly with people who I know are like vinyl collectors, people who I know, you know. But yeah, but I've gotten lucky. One of the ones I found was a Tracy Chapman self-titled, and I pretty much paid $1 for that. And one of my best friends offered me $60 for it. And I told him, I said, this is like a perfect record. And so he's like, okay, I'll give you $60. He listened to it and he said, I think I actually owe you more money because this record is like.
So when you're
going, that record, I don't know if you know, that record's hard to find.
Yeah, that's why like some of the records you have on your TikTok, I was like, where is he finding these records? Like, because I'm like, I've been to record stores and I'm like, I don't see any of these records that he's showing. I'm like, I gotta ask, like, where are you getting these, like, these hauls, like, so. But I have so when you go to, are these records like, are they mostly in like good condition?
So that's the risk I take. Most time when I go look through a collection, I've got pretty good at being able to see like these are mediocre condition, these are good, these are great. It's normally somewhere between like good, like if you know Discog, if you know the rating, it's like a lot of it's like VG or VG plus. So it's not gonna be necessarily like they're probably a little bit less. Some of them are less condition that I would normally buy like full price. Like what I would want to buy at a record store. That's why I try to tell people like, yeah, this might be a $50 record if it's in a certain amount of shape. But I get stuff with like water damage on the album covers. Occasionally, like the for me the worst is when I find a record and I know it's rare and it's only the album cover and the record has been lost. And like that's the worst because I'm like, oh my gosh, and then I don't get the record. Like someone else got the record. It got lost, over the decades.
Oh man.
So, but I mean, there are other times where, like I said, that Tracy Chapman, that was the album I saw on the ad, and I was like, if they have Tracy Chapman, like they got good taste. And I pulled that thing out, and it was like perfect. And I just was like, I knew it was like a $50-$60 record easily. So it's a mix. It's definitely a mix. But what I like about it, like you said, where you find this stuff, a lot of the stuff, like, again, if you go, unless you're really digging, if you're just going and looking at like artists at a record store where they have the artists separated, I've found so many artists that I never have seen at record stores. Breakwater is one of them. Entombed, which was popular for Juicy Fruit. Johnny Taylor. A lot of these artists that like they're great artists. They make great music. They have some collectability, but they don't have that like name record. I mean, this
Yeah.
right here, the Evelyn King. I got that off of that first collection. And so just find it, and you get a sense of like what kind of taste people had, right?
Yeah.
Like they had a certain amount of taste, a certain amount of like flow in their collections.
What I noticed too, because I'm from California, but like every year I go to DC and we'll go to like New York or something like that. And like every place you go, like the sound is different. So what people find valuable is different. Like so DC, it's like go-go stuff is very popular there. But like it'll be like $50. But like if I go just a little bit over to a different place, it's a $5 vinyl. So depending on like the area you're in, they value certain things. So that's what I've learned. I literally want to just go to states and just like what's their best and just see what their sound is, but that's gonna take a while before I get to that point. But so do you know what your first record, or do you own the first record that you bought?
Yeah, so the first record I bought, I told you that I grew up like on Motown. My mom and my grandma loved Motown records. So I listened to a lot of like Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye. So this was actually Marvin
Oh,
Gaye
Marvin and
and
Tammy.
Tammy Terrell United. Yeah. So, because this has Ain't No Mountain High Enough, If I Could Build My Whole World Around You, If This World Were Mine. Like, those are my favorites on this record. So I bought this in like I think it was like 2015 or 16.
So
And
I think
still
Marvin
love
Gaye
it.
is
Like,
the greatest, so
I
that's why. um, where'd you find
nice.
that? I don't find any of Marvin and Tammy. I always find like Marvin Gaye by himself. Obviously, you're gonna find that, but I've never really seen Marvin and
Yeah.
Tammy like in any of these record stores.
So I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and
Mm.
we have a lot of record store. I say a lot, I mean, maybe not, but we have in the Metroplex, we have quite a few record stores. We have a couple that are like really big. And I found it at one of the large ones. What's crazy is I paid like $24 for that, like 5 years, like I said, 5, 6 years ago. And it's already over worth like 40 now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good
So
value.
yeah, I just found it there, and yeah, I'm like, man, like I'm sure you see, like, I actually have a trick when I go to my record store. So I know they used to have old school price tags, like where it had like the month and the year. So like, let's say that one was from like January 2016. Okay, but through the years they moved to like a barcode system. So
Mm.
all their older records, they don't have the barcode. Well, when I like really dig, not just like look at the new arrivals or look at the popular artists, but like when I dig, if I see one of those old price tags, it's like 3 or 4 years old at least from that store. So even those prices, like we talked about this vinyl explosion, the prices from 3 or 4 years ago, I'll pull it up on Discogs and it'll be $5 or $10 more now just
Yeah.
depending on certain records, just because of the influence of vinyl recently.
Yeah, I don't know when, like, because I'm not a social media person. I hate social media, honestly. But
Yeah.
I don't know when vinyl became like so crazy. Because I used to just go to vinyl record store before I was like collecting anything, and just go because it was like I like the environment. Um, but then I started going through and I'm like, man, this is $60. Like I wouldn't pay that. And then like people would buy it though. And I was like, oh, this stuff is going crazy right now. So like I don't know when it became so popular, but it's very pop, especially here, like hipsters. That is a very, very important thing here,
Yeah.
I guess. So do you have like a favorite album
Yeah.
cover of like a record that you own?
Yeah, so this is probably I tried to pick some stuff that people may not have seen or people not as at least that I hadn't seen, but I just really liked. So this is called "Wanted One Soul Singer." It's by a guy named Johnny Taylor, and actually I gotta pull this out
I
of
got
the
Johnny
sleeve.
Taylor's greatest hits.
This was one. Yeah, so this is actually really cool. I'm trying to see if I can get it, but it has a job. So like the idea of like wanted one soul singer.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like a job application or a resume. Yeah, it's an application, and it has like his actual information. Like before he was with Stax, but before Stax he was with SAR Records. He was with VJ Records, and it just says talented recording artist, a creative songwriter, and a professionally excellent performer. Hire immediately. So I've got others, but I just thought because that's like I don't know if you can tell, but that's like a newspaper, background. And I just love that pose that he's in. You
Yeah.
see that pose? He's like on the bench looking at the record. So that's probably one of my favorite covers.
So
Um,
do you only
although, let me show you real quick if I can. This is
what is that?
this one too. Laylomi Washington.
I don't even know who that
So
is.
she's got this pink hair. Yeah, this is one of those like like when you dig, you find people. It's like late '70s R&B, and I just was digging deep, and I saw this. I was like, man, that hair is
That's a
like
good cover.
incredible.
That would have got my
So great
attention.
record. It's called yeah the right the this record is called My Music Is Hot.
Mm. So do you only
You were
collect
saying though, I'm sorry, I
vinyls?
didn't mean to cut you.
Like do you collect any other form of like music or
Mate,
just
I'm starting to fill in a little bit with CDs, just because. So I'm 38 myself, and so I'm getting to the stage where it's like a lot of stuff I grew up listening to in the '90s and 2000s is hardly on vinyl, and I
yeah.
already told you I'm kind of cheap, so unless I can find something like for a really good price, like I don't really like normally breaking the bank. So a lot of stuff from the '90s and 2000s, I started picking up on CD. So like one of my favorite records that like growing up was Whitney Houston, "My Love Is Your Love."
Mm.
Um, that vinyl is crazy, and you can't find it. It's like a $300 record. You can't
Yeah.
find it anywhere. But the CD is $2.
Yeah, I collect
So I
CDs.
picked up the CD for $2.
CDs is what got me
Yeah,
into vinyls. I know most people get into it because like the sound, because it sounds better. But
yeah,
I started collecting CDs, and that's why I would go to like record stores and I was getting CDs. But then I would buy like a record every now and then, and I'm like, I need to buy a record player. And then I bought a record player, lost it,
yeah.
and then somebody bought me it for Christmas. Well, my sister bought it for Christmas,
Uh,
and so now I just start collecting every now and then. So, but
nice.
CDs, I don't even know. I got so many CDs, and I've given like a whole bunch away. Like I gave my dad a whole collection of CDs. So I was like, I'll just start over. Like it doesn't bother me. Like, but
Yeah.
CDs got me into it.
Good.
Go ahead.
Well, because CDs are what vinyl used to be 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
CDs are affordable the way vinyl used to be, right? Like you can buy so many CDs for $5 and under.
But there's some CDs, like like anything with like once an artist passed away, people just go crazy with the prices. Like MF Doom when he passed away, and I was looking for his CD for a while and the vinyl really, but I was like, okay, I'm not gonna find the vinyl for a great price. It's just not gonna happen. But I went to the record store on record store day and they had his CD, but it was like $40. I'm like, for a CD? I was like, yeah, no, I'm not paying that for a CD. And it was used, so it wasn't even a new, like fresh, not even. I was like, I can't pay $40 for a CD. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable doing that personally. But yeah, CDs are way cheaper. They don't sound as good, obviously, but yeah, I got a whole bunch of them. All right, so some of the questions I'm about to ask you now, I'm just thinking of them now. Do you have a record that like people wouldn't think that you own, but like you listen to it and really love it?
Trying to think of what. I mean, so I'll tell you this, the main sounds I like are R&B, soul, funk, jazz, blues, and disco. So I'm trying to think of what would be outside of that. Let me look if I got just 1 second back here. Oh yeah, maybe this one, but I don't think people would be too surprised. This is a Texas band. The band is called Khruangbin. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Never.
I don't know exactly. I feel like they're genreless. Yeah, so check out Khruangbin. They're based out of Houston, and it's like alt music, like I would say like indie alt with like I mean just all sorts of, so it's a three-piece band, right? Guitar, bass, and piano, or I'm sorry, guitar, bass, and drums. And man, they just make so Jay Electronica rapped over one of their beats on his latest album. You know that song, All Praises Due to Allah?
Okay, I know exactly what song you're talking about.
Yeah, so that was off of, I think it was this album. So Khruangbin is probably someone, and like they mainly make instrumental music, but it just has a dope
What is
vibe.
their name
And
again?
like I said, Khruangbin.
Oh, I know exactly who
It
they have a
starts. It's
song.
a KH.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just followed them on I
They have,
literally just followed them on SoundCloud, and I like saved one of their albums. I haven't listened to it yet. They're from Houston?
yeah, they're from Hugh. Yeah, but they're like a real eclectic, super. Yeah, they're real cool. They did an album with Leon Bridges. Well, it was like an EP with Leon Bridges,
So all they
another
do is
Texas
they
artist.
don't have like a singer in the group or anything like that. They just make like so they're like I don't want to say a vibe, but they like play music with like instrumentals basically, just instrumentals. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do some singing in there, but it's not like, very seldom is it like, it's not like radio friendly pop records. Like it's very like, yeah, it's just good music.
Okay. Do you have like a favorite record? You don't like
Yeah, this is the one record I really like broke. This is the one record I broke the bank for. Um, Another probably one of my favorite groups right now is this group called Salt. I don't know if you heard of them. They're out of it's spelled Salt. It's SAULT. They're out of London. They're like real mysterious. So like no one really knows who's in the band, or in the like collective of music. But they just released an album that's only available for 99 days. This is like their second. Let's see. They've released 5 records, and this is their third one. It's called Untitled Black Is, and it's just a really dope, like mix of like soul, funk. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a modern record. This one came out in 2020. But
And they're
yeah,
like
Salt
unknown.
is. So I got this one. Yeah, so they're like so they believe, best I can tell, in like this anti-celebrity. So this is what's cool about the record too. It's a blue. I normally don't get into like the color vinyl. I normally I just want good vinyl, so I don't care if it's
Color of
what
it.
color it is. Um, but yeah, this collective Salt, like yeah, like just make it high quality. I don't need it to look good. But Salt is yeah, they literally no one knows who's in the band. They've like never performed live anywhere. Michael Kiwanuka has worked with them and a couple other people, but they're like this really anti-celebrity band, and they make great music. Like they make like dance music. They make like deep like social justice music. It's definitely like music that's like not like I say this as someone who appreciates it, but it's like not made for white people. So
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like black centric, Afrocentric, if you will, and it's just great music. I think.
I'm gonna check them out. I've never heard of. So they don't want to be like they don't have
Oh man,
anybody like showing who they are. Their faces aren't on anything. Hmm.
you I like Google it. You'll find a couple like the people they've worked with, and you'll find articles about like, but there's like literally no like, and maybe if you do, let me know, please. Like, it would be cool. But as far as I know, the people who actually make the music, which I love, like as a person who like is interested in like the cost of celebrity, we see so many of the people who we've loved, either music or actors or whatever, like really struggle with what the idea of celebrity or the reality of celebrity does to them. I love the idea that they're like, hey, we want to make music. We don't need you to know who we are. We're just going to make this music. And if you want to enjoy this music, great. If not, we're not going to lose, like our sense of peace and privacy over it. So I really like that idea, that they're after. They're like, you don't need to know who I am if that's what they choose. Now, if other people want to, be popular and be famous and put their names out there, but I like that
Yeah.
idea.
There's a value in that of like letting the music speak for itself. Cause like some people like her when her first came out, I didn't know who she was. I was like, who, this music is just good. So I mean, now we know who she is. She's like one of the biggest R&B acts right now. But I'm like, I didn't know who she was, and it was just like just her logo with the colors. I'm like, who is this person? And I was looking all over the internet for like, who is this
The
person?
glasses.
Yeah, like you don't see her eyes. Like
Yeah.
she's still kind of mysterious. Like we know how she looks, kind of, but like I've seen her perform twice, and I'm like, I still don't like know anything about you. We know the music. Um, I know she's from the Bay Area because people in the Bay Area talk about her. But other than that, I don't know anything about her. And I'm like, I like that
Yeah.
aspect, like not knowing. So we don't have to worry about, oh, this scandal, blah, blah, blah. Like your music is speaking for itself. That's it. So if you had three records to listen to for the rest of your life, what would they be? And I'm sure this is probably going to change for
Ooh,
you.
I forgot to pull this one. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely picking like this record right here, that Khruangbin record that I was telling you, because it's like super chill. I totally forgot to pull the records for this
Oh, you're
one, but
good.
I'm actually gonna pull another one, and this is a god right here, Sylvester. So this is called Stars. It has like I Need Somebody to Love, Stars, Body Strong, but it has, I think, one of the best ballads. His rendition of I Who Have Nothing is amazing. So we'll do with that Sylvester. And just to switch it up, this is a record I just got, but Charles Mingus, The Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. So this is, I'm just now getting into like jazz more.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a ton of jazz records, but I love jazz and I love that record.
But so do you have a record that you recommend that everybody listen to?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me look real quick. I want to get something too that people can get. You know what? I will pick this one. I think I have. Oh, I'm gonna pick. Yeah. Okay, so this is probably one. So this is Milt Jackson and Ray Charles. It's called Soul Brothers. This is to that point, like I believe this is like smooth jazz. So this is like from it's like the early '60s. I feel like Ray Charles is slept on in the vinyl community.
Yeah.
He was at the forefront of. I feel like Ray Charles did like so much for the music, and like people love like Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin and Al Green. Like I love all those people too, but like Ray Charles, like especially like late '50s, all through the '60s, Ray Charles, like that music is incredible. And not only is it incredible to listen to now, like it literally created whole genres that we know. It created like whole lanes for people that they walk through later on. So that's like a slept on record. Another one I would say is Aretha Franklin. Let's see if I can find this one real quick. Aretha Franklin live at the Fillmore West. That's like one of my favorite live albums. Um, yeah, Aretha live period is always going to be a win.
Yeah.
But that I think it's live at the Fillmore. That album is incredible.
There's something about live albums that are like I got a couple Marvin Gaye live, and one of them I'm just like, man, like this is just pure talent, you know. Like I don't have to be there, and I can really be like, man, this is amazing. Like, I got one of them. I got What's Going On live. I haven't opened that one yet. I don't think I'm going to because I have it on CD. I don't think I'm gonna open the vinyl because I'm like, you know what? This is just. I got it for $20 too. I was like, yeah, we're not opening this. Brand new. I might buy another one so I can listen to it, but the one I got, I'm like, I'm not opening this one. This is the last question I'm gonna ask you. You have 3 albums that you say are perfect from front to back. What can you show? Well, I know you got more than 3 that you probably think are perfect, but can you show me 3 albums that you think are perfect from front to back?
3 albums, front to back. Okay. I feel like this is I haven't been done a hip hop yet, but I love Women I by Outkast. Yeah. I'm gonna do this one. Let's see. I feel like I haven't said his name yet, and I gotta say his name. Man, let's see. Sorry, 1 second. I'm looking. Which one am I gonna pick? I mean, all of this. Stevie, Music of My Mind, everything from that classical period, which was like early to mid '70s. So that's 2. I owe you one more. I'll do another current hip hop. I don't do a lot of hip hop on vinyl, but I'm a huge fan of Tyler. Yeah, and I kind of got into Flower Boy, but this album is like probably I'd say top 5 rap albums from the 2010s.
Oh, that's a big statement.
All right, and I say rap, right? Like it's not really rap. I guess hip hop is probably a fairer statement. But yeah, I really like that record beginning.
I like the growth in like his music because when he first came out, I was not a fan of like. I was like, you know what? I can't connect to this. This is too. But like his growth, because I give one. I'm biased too. I'm like, if you're from California, I will give you 10 more chances than somebody from another place. I'm like, I might not like it, but I'm gonna listen to it again, and I'm gonna give you so many chances. Especially if you're from Southern California, you're gonna get a lot of chances. So I didn't like him at first, but then I started listening, and I'm like, okay, it's starting to grow on me because the production was always good. So I was like, all right. But then his last, like I would say, even his album that just came out, I'm like, okay, I like what you're doing, and I hear the growth in your music. It's all about growth. If you're not growing as an artist and it's like the same sound, I just can't. Like I can't. But thanks for being on here. You can give people like your information so they can follow you. I'm definitely gonna try to have you on here again. But go ahead and tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, so on TikTok, my name is right now Jason Spins Vinyl. That's pretty much all I do for like record stuff. On Instagram, I think I'm like Jason R427. But yeah, check them out. My TikTok, and we'll see. Right now, I just spin a couple records. I'm just trying to get into the groove and just follow great people like yourself. Um, and so yeah, thanks again for having me. It's been a joy. Totally, let me know. Um, I could even if we did this, there'd be other ways we could do it. Where if I got a new stash, I could like walk you through like this
Oh
is how
yeah,
I go through a new stash.
I would love for that to be. That's probably would be better, like because the halls, and then you like go through and you explain what you like and all of that from the halls. I would love to do that, but this has been On the Record. I've been your boy Jamal Radio Raheem. Till next time, peace.